5 best remaining free agents for the Browns, according to dogpounddaily.com. They are all defensive backs, so let's go through them. Number 1, they have Darqueze Dennard, former Cincinnati Bengal, Michigan State guy. Do you see him fitting here?
So, I mean, this is the discussion about sort of that fourth outside corner, right? And that again, if you have any iffiness about Greedy and his injury last year, or you have any iffiness about Greg Newsome as a rookie, it'd be nice to have a veteran to throw in there. And again, we're talking about a team that last year wound up, playing Robert Jackson in important snaps in a playoff game, and he did what he needed to do. So I do think that this is really interesting. We had a long discussion on Gotta Watch the Tape that's going to air next week about like Demetric Felton and how he fits as like the third running back. This is what we're talking about with this team. And it's like, what should they do with their 38th best player on the roster? Because the first 37 are pretty set. But like your fourth outside corner can be super important before you know it. So I remember Darqueze Dennard from Michigan State. He was good then. I don't know who, but the idea to me generally of getting a little bit more established veteran for that fourth outside corner spot, and given that, Denzel sometimes misses some games, makes a lot of sense to me. I think that would be a worthy investment of a couple $1 million that they can spend to double check yourself so that in the playoffs, you're not playing a guy that you don't want to play. I'm good for Darqueze Dennard. I'll be curious to see what the other names are, but I like where this general conversation is.
Yeah, and again, these are guys that are probably only going to cost you it's a couple million between you and I of Jimmy Haslam's money. We're good for it. He's good for it. All right, second on the list, Malik Hooker, safety, another guy that you're going to know pretty well.
So this is like, now we're starting getting really interesting because that's safety stuff. And in college, Malik Hooker covered sideline to sideline as well as any free safety I'd ever seen. I mean, I can remember Greg Schiano, when he was Ohio State's defensive coordinator, was dropping Ed Reed comparisons about Malik Hooker. And he got to the NFL and he got hurt. That guy's a 12th pick in the draft, 15th pick in the draft, or whatever he was. Like, that guy is a stud. He did his job at Ohio State as well as almost anybody I've seen do their job at Ohio State in 15 years. So the Browns are stacked at safety. Ronnie Harrison long-term, I'm not sure what he is here. Grant Delpit's going to be here for a while. John Johnson's going to be here for a while. If Malik Hooker's your fourth safety, you're in pretty good shape. But that, to me, just from my standpoint of having covered him in college, there was a time when he was special. Like, he did stuff that most people can't do. Go watch his pick on Deshaun Watson in the 2016 Fiesta Bowl in that college football playoff semifinal when Ohio State got roasted by Deshaun Watson 31-0. It should have been 38-0, but Malik Hooker covered so much ground on a throw to the corner of the end zone. No other safety in the country would have gotten there, and he got there. If that guy's floating around, that to me is a little bit investment in the future, because maybe there's a world where down the line, Grant Delpit, John Johnson, and Malik Hooker are your three guys back there. But that's a little more flyer on upside. That guy, it's not that long ago, that guy was in the draft, and that guy was rare. So now you have my attention, Dave.
Yeah, and again, as you touched on, he just hasn't been healthy. Another name that we've heard a lot of, Brian Poole. Brian Poole is still out there as a corner, and he still fits into what the Browns want to do if the price is right, and again, you're talking that fourth corner.
I remember, before free agency, we all at cleveland.com all did our, hey, who should they go get? And some people are on Troy Hill and some people are on Poole. So they got Troy Hill, but like that he's still out there. Again, I think there's some flexibility there with playing inside and outside, if I remember correctly. He's done it, right? Like, I'm here for it. Now, you're making me think Hooker is a little more of a luxury to me. I feel like I'm going to come around. I think they need to sign one of these veteran corners. I think they need their fourth corner to be a guy like this, especially with Denzel sometimes misses games. Greedy missed all of last year. Greg Newsome is a rookie, and let's get a guy that we believe in as the fourth corner.
All right, we've got another name that you'll recognize, but we're not there yet. Next on this list is Tre Boston, a safety, who became available a little bit after free agency got rolling. He was let go.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, we'll move on. Gary,
can we cut in the control room? Can we cut on the Tre Boston? It made me look bad to not know who that is. All right. We'll edit that out in post.
Again, a veteran type safety, very not quite as high upside as Malik Hooker, but a guy that has done it a little bit. Let's go to Gareon Conley. I know you know who that is. That's a guy from Massillon High School and also Ohio State.
And it's drafted in the first round by the Raiders. I think was with the Texans last year, right?
Yep.
Was traded by the Raiders. You know, Gareon Conley is in this litany of first-round Ohio State corners. He was in the rotation with Denzel Ward the 1 year in 2016. Listen, this is the Ohio State defensive backfield in 2016. It's Marshawn Lattimore, Gareon Conley, Denzel Ward at corner, and Malik Hooker at safety. And how good that defensive backfield was. It's why they made the playoff. I think Conley is not as special as Hooker, which is not a slam on anybody. So I think he's good, but I'm less intrigued with him than I am with a guy like Dennard.